The Amish reject modern technology and live apart from mainstream society, yet they still speak English. But in Brooklyn neighborhoods like Williamsburg and Borough Park, entire families speak Yiddish first, a 600-year-old language that once had 11 million speakers before the Holocaust nearly wiped it from the earth. Somehow in these communities it didn't disappear. It thrived. And the reason why starts centuries ago. In the 10th century, within the German-speaking regions of Central Europe, Jewish settlers began blending local Middle-High German dialects with their own traditional tongues. Linguists trace the grammatical bones of Yiddish directly to these early West Germanic roots. Yet, because the families who spoke it lived a highly religious life, they integrated Hebrew and Aramaic words directly into the grammar of everyday speech. This linguistic fusion created a practical daily vernacular for Ashkenazi Jews, keeping it separate from the sacred Hebrew reserved for synagogue prayers. The earliest physical proof of this emerging tongue dates to 1272, found inside a Hebrew prayer book known as the Mahazor of Worms. Within its margins, a scribe penned a brief liturgical blessing, the oldest written Yiddish sentence in existence. As communities migrated eastward over the following centuries, the language adapted to its new surroundings, absorbing Slavic vocabulary and speech patterns from Polish, Ukrainian, and Lithuanian neighbors. The result was a highly flexible hybrid, a Germanic core, overlaid with Semitic religious terminology, and expanded by Slavic expressions. It became a mobile, living tongue, written from right to left using the Hebrew alphabet, carrying the history of migration within its very grammar. By the early 20th century, Yiddish was no longer a regional dialect, but a global linguistic powerhouse. Demographic records from the 1930s indicate that between 11 and 13 million people spoke Yiddish worldwide. It was the primary daily language for families, spanning from Warsaw and Vilnius to London and New York, anchoring a vast cultural network of daily newspapers, theaters, literature, and schools. Then came the catastrophic shock of the Holocaust. In less than a decade, approximately 5 million Yiddish speakers were murdered, representing about 85% of all Jewish victims of the genocide. This systematic destruction wiped out nearly half of the global speaker base, dismantling the European heartland, where the language had thrived for centuries. According to archivists at the YIVO Institute, this sudden demographic collapse shattered the natural transmission of the language from parent to child across the European continent. The devastation left the language in severe jeopardy, with its historic center completely erased. Almost overnight, a language that had united millions across borders was silenced in the towns and cities of its birth, making its survival in the modern era one of the most striking chapters in linguistic history. In the decades following the war, surviving families who established new communities in Brooklyn, London, and Israel adopted Yiddish as a deliberate shield. For many Hasidic groups, retaining the language became a central pillar of communal life, serving as a boundary that maintained separation from the secular world. This choice rests on a specific linguistic division. In these communities, Hebrew, referred to as Loshen Kodesh, or the sacred tongue, is reserved strictly for prayer, Torah study, and holy texts. Using the sacred language for mundane tasks like buying groceries or discussing the weather is viewed as a dilution of its purity. Everyday Yiddish, meanwhile, serves as the vernacular for the home, the street, and commerce. Cultural historians observe that this division creates a self-reinforcing system of preservation. By using Yiddish for daily life, families maintain an unbroken line to their European heritage while naturally managing their contact with external cultural influences. The language functions as a constant boundary, protecting a traditional way of life from secular assimilation. Through this deliberate separation of the sacred and the ordinary, Yiddish secured an active, permanent place in the modern world. Today, these close-knit enclaves function as the largest living reservoir of spoken Yiddish on Earth, encompassing an estimated 750,000 daily speakers. The primary anchor of this modern linguistic network is Brooklyn, New York. In neighborhoods like Williamsburg and Borough Park, Yiddish functions as the natural, dominant tongue of the home, the street, and the marketplace. Outside of New York City, this network extends into the suburban enclaves of Rockland and Orange counties, particularly the rapidly growing communities of Monsey, New Square, and Kiryas Joel. In these municipalities, Yiddish-speaking families make up a massive portion of the population, establishing a regional core where the language dominates public life. This geography is mirrored internationally. Across the Atlantic, the district of Stamford Hill in London serves as the primary European stronghold, where up to 30,000 Hasidic residents use Yiddish as their main tool for daily communication. Meanwhile, in Israel, the language remains firmly rooted in the historic neighborhoods of Jerusalem, such as Mea Shearim, and the bustling city of Bnei Brak, where roughly 250,000 people speak Yiddish daily. Through these highly concentrated urban and suburban networks, a language once threatened with extinction now possesses durable, self-sustaining geographic anchors. The survival of Yiddish relies on the immediate, everyday world of childhood. Children acquire the language from their parents as a first tongue, speaking it in the home long before encountering any other. For a typical child, daily life is entirely Yiddish medium. Early education reinforces this pattern. In local yeshivas, boys begin their religious studies using Yiddish to translate ancient Hebrew and Aramaic scriptures. English is introduced later, typically in the 3rd grade, and is often limited to just 90 minutes at the end of the school day. Educators inside these schools point out that because English is taught as a secondary, academic subject by teachers who themselves speak Yiddish as a first language, proficiency remains highly uneven. While girls' schools often give more time to English and secular subjects, some boys' academies omit secular classes altogether. This structured delay of English ensures that Yiddish becomes the primary cognitive framework for the next generation, functioning as the fundamental medium through which children learn to think, play, and understand their world. On the streets of Williamsburg and Borough Park, Yiddish transitions from private homes directly into the public square. Shopfront advertisements, local notices, and neighborhood warnings display Hebrew characters, while street-level newsstands dedicate entire window displays to weekly newspapers like Der Blatt and Die Zeitung. This visible public presence is not a heritage revival or academic study of the kind found in university libraries. Linguists observe that in these dense enclaves, Yiddish functions as an organic, living first language, the primary medium of commerce, banking, and daily transactions. Even with strict rabbinic limitations on digital technology and smartphone usage, a modern Yiddish web presence is growing. On approved, filtered devices, forums like Cave Steibel allow writers to debate current events, share cultural news, and standardize modern spelling. As newspaper editor Abraham Friedman observes, these media channels serve the immediate practical needs of a growing society. Ultimately, Yiddish survives because it is spoken, read, traded, and inherited every single day. Today, Yiddish endures not as a historical relic, but as the heartbeat of a living community. In a rapidly globalizing world, this resilient tongue proves that a language survives through the quiet devotion of daily life. What do you think? Share your thoughts below.